right, people think this is a new angle again. We got a standing desk now. Same old me though. Lil Yoski right there. Below that, wet floor sign. So we're still kicking the same pimp, and we've always been doing. Step me. But the reason I want to make this video is to give you guys something that I wish somebody would have gave me a long, long time ago, right? And really, maybe something would have changed if I heard this. Maybe nothing would have changed if I heard this. But I think it has the opportunity to help some of you guys change, right? Now, if you're watching this, I'm almost certain I'm only going to post this on my Instagram. So, in some way, shape, or form, you know me through that. And maybe the algorithm touched yours, and now you're seeing this, right? So, on the off chance that that's you, what's up? My name's Noah. But if you already know me, then you have seen plenty of times that I live a life that's desirable, right? Now, whenever I say that, I mean that in the most humble way possible. I am extremely blessed to be where I'm at. But the thing that I want to talk about is what actually did this for me, right? Now, I say did this for me, but it came down to a series of actions that I committed to that ultimately led to my reality being what it is today, right? Now, when I think the idea that made this all come to fruition in terms of this video was I posted an Instagram story and I said that I'm going to show you guys how to live every day like it's just euphoric, right? Every day is euphoria. Live a life that you don't have to run away from, right? Now, I mean, it's not like clickbait by any means because I do live that life, right? That is exactly what I have now. But I want to tell you about the things that actually got me here, right? The front loaded side of it. Because we're seeing the back portion, we're seeing the results, we're seeing everything that's come from what I did in the beginning, right? Now, when it comes down to it, if I were to describe myself, I'm 22 years old. I have been in the military, both active duty and in the reserves for 5 years now. I don't know, I have no co-signers for anything. I pay for everything. I've lived on my own since I was 17. Like I am extremely self-sufficient in that regard, right? But the number one thing that I'll say before I talk about anything in terms of, oh, how did I get here? What got me here? Is that I am self sufficient in what God allows me to be in, right? Now, what I mean by that is obviously my faith is, I mean, it's evident, right? The cross on my neck, the tattoos all over my body. Jesus is the reason I am who I am. And more specifically, I feel that I am where I am because of the specific prayers that I've prayed for, I mean, my entire life, right? Since I started praying, kind of thing, which honestly wasn't that long ago. I really became saved when I was 14. So, right there just shows, I guess, how quickly things can happen. But the way that I prayed, the things that I said to God were never, God, make me rich. Well, no, I mean, at times it was. At times it was, God, make me rich. God, give me this opportunity. God, let me do this thing. God, let me do this, right? But the reason I am where I am, I feel, is because I'm truly supposed to be here to show you that the day that you ask God, allow me to be everything that you want me to be, is the day that you'll start to live a life that you don't need to run from, right? Why I say that is because that's what I've prayed my ever since I became more mature, I guess you could say. God, let me live the life that allows me to glorify you in the best way possible and to help as many people as I can, right? And through that, here I am today in front of you showing you what that's got me, right? Now, in terms of the actionable steps that you can take coupled with this faith, it's pretty simple, honestly, right? For me, you would see this video, you'd see me talking in front of the screen. And I mean, you might assume that I'm like this big, bubbly social guy. You'll see the stuff that I post. You'll see all this stuff that makes me seem as if I'm this person who's just out there and like everywhere, right? But I'm not. I'm truly not. And the thing that I want to highlight first and foremost is you need to find what makes you better. We call it the unique mechanism, I guess you could say. What is your unique mechanism that you can turn and provide value with, right? That is the number one step to setting yourself free and monetizing your life, right? Now, for me, you would see all this stuff, everything that I just mentioned, and assume that I'm super social. So I'm just out here like selling stuff and, I know everybody and blah, 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 blah. That's not it. That's not me, right? I am the opposite of that. I hate talking to people. It's like the worst thing ever to me, right? What I am is extremely analytical, right? And I value understanding every piece of everything that I get myself into at such a deeply autistic level that it's almost impossible for me to think sometimes, right? Because I'm looking so deeply into each thing that I'm doing. And one day I realized, man, I'm this analytical, right? I noticed these patterns, I noticed these things. And when I was in the military, I went on to be in a very specialized team, and we did a very deep sort of analysis into a very like niche part of the software world or whatever. And it was in that moment that I realized, like, oh, everything kind of works similar to the way that I'm analyzing this stuff, right? Super autistic. I saw this code in front of me and I was like, dang, dude, that's how life is, right? But that's the way my mind thinks, right? So I said, okay, if I can recognize these patterns, then I can go and recognize those patterns in other people, right? I can poke holes in it and I can fix it, per se, the way that I do with this stuff over here, right? Which, boom, led to me being the sales guy, right? And then at that point, as I'm doing sales and stuff, I start to realize, like, oh, there's things that could be different in these funnels. There's things that could be different with these reps that are on my teams. There's things that could be different. Let me look at it, right? And then at that point, I stepped into the next layer of providing value, right? Which is what leads me here to, I mean, as of a couple of days ago, I just joined into an agency with some people that I'm very close with, and we're going to make a lot of money together, right? And it's not going to be because I'm the best sales rep. It's honestly because I'm, in their words, I'm very high agency, right? I have no desire to let something go unturned in terms of the stones in front of me. And I'm deeply analytical about finding the best way to fill that gap, right? Or change this thing, make it smoother, right? It's kind of like getting into a river and you step on a rock and you slide. It's because the water has passed over that stone a whole lot and now it's as smooth as it's ever going to get. I want everything that I do at this point to feel that smooth, right? So the point of me rambling and yapping about that is that throughout my life, I've identified what makes me unique and I found ways to provide value, right? For you, what this could look like is, maybe you're very creative, right? Maybe you love drawing pictures or something like that, right? You could go and get into marketing. You could take that same creativity and you could apply that to a business. Like, you could do so many different things just based on these subtle little interests that you have, right? For me, I never, when I would go home, I wouldn't like look at code and stuff like that and like further my analytical prowess that way. But what I did was I would go home and I would research everything. I wanted to understand everything, right? And I mean that. Like, there's no way this girl's going to watch this, but I was talking to a girl at one point who I picked her up to like hang out or whatever, and I was listening to the history of Rome, and specifically when Emperor Nero allegedly burned down Rome, right, as part of like a cleansing type of thing. And when I was doing that, it wasn't because I was just like interested in it. It was because I wanted to understand what made this great big empire fall, right? And I want to understand each little piece of it. These big names that are credited to, ruining the Roman Empire, why'd they do it, right? I want to understand that. And that's just a small example of my analytical brain being used in the wrong way, honestly, in terms of I just want to gain information. But I've exercised that muscle, right? And for you on the other side of the screen, you have a muscle that you exercise and you may not realize that you're doing it, but there is something inside of you that you can use to leverage to go and make money with it, right? Now, So far, we have faith, identifying what makes you unique. And really, the last thing that you need is delusion, honestly, right? In terms of trying and knowing that, you know what, I may fail, but if I do, what's the worst that could happen, right? Delusion in the sense that if I don't die, it's a win, right? Like, that's how I feel. That's how I think about everything at this point, right? I'm extremely extreme in all of my decision making processes. When it comes to changing something, I am ruthless. If I find an inefficiency somewhere in my life and I can cut that thing off and then just improve, I'll do it right there. The second the thought enters my brain, I don't want that, right? I don't want something that's not serving me in my life. Now, flip that on its head, look at the other side of the coin. When it comes to the things that I do want in life, why would I be indecisive about pursuing that? Right? It just doesn't add up. For me, I'm so just aggressive in improving my situation and the things that go on around me that if the rest of my life didn't look like that, I mean, it would almost be concerning, right? Like, why is Noah saying this thing and then doing the other? And for you on the other side of this screen, I mean, that might be the thing that needs to change, right? You might need to stop saying one thing and doing the other, right? And you need to be committed to everything that you step forth into, right? Let's say you figure out that the thing that you're best at is math, right? You're just amazing at math. So you go and you start doing accounting and you go and become a fractional CPA and you go make a bunch of money and do all that, right? That could be your life, but it never will be if you don't commit to it and commit to it daily, right? Every single day, there's an action that you need to take outside of getting out of the bed, and that's committing to being the person that you said that you are, right? For me, what this looks like more practically, outside of obviously, like, I've taken the risks, I've done the things, I don't work a normal job, like all of that stuff has happened. But I also, I mean, I wake up at a time I don't feel like waking up at to go to the gym when I don't want to. I eat clean whenever I don't want to eat clean. I take vitamins whenever, I mean, it sucks that I take all these pills every day when I wake up. But one sec. Probably gonna have to edit that out. But I daily commit to being the person that can have the things that I want, right? It comes down to this phrase, be, do, have. I've heard it from Myron Golden, a big millionaire CEO, whatever. And he says you need to be the person who can do the thing so that you can have what you want. And person on the other side of the screen, that's what I would tell you, right? I would tell you that you need to be the person who can do the hard stuff so that you can have the great things, the great life that you want, right? Now, the reason this video is kind of clickbaity is I don't have like a thing to give you at the end of it. There is no clear path to living life every day in this total state of euphoria, but this is how I got there, right? I had unwavering faith. I identified what makes me unique and I can charge people for it. And then I committed to pursuing it, right? And the rest of my life showcases that commitment, right? Outside of that, I did the extremely hard things in the beginning. More than anything, I did all of the stuff that made me miserable, right? Because I knew that if I look up a couple years from now when the work is done, I'll have what I want. Military, perfect example. I was 17. I didn't want to go to college. I knew that it was either hang out with my friends, a lot of which are either dead or in jail, or go to the military, right? My parents were going to make me just go work, or that was it, right? School and pay us to live here, or go to the military, right? Or just get the hell out. And I'll never be able to repay them for that because it forced me to act. And whenever I joined the military, I knew that I wasn't going to stay in. And like that sucks, right? That's like starting a marriage and then being like, "Yeah, I'm definitely going to divorce her in a few years." Like, it's not a recipe, a concoction for happiness, right? But what I knew was, man, I'm going to go to the military. I'm going to do everything to the best of my ability as quickly as I can, like I always have. I'm going to work harder than everybody. I'm going to do more than everybody else. And then at the end of it, I mean, my parents, they get their money from the VA. I mean, they're retired. Maybe I could retire, right? One day I realized I didn't want to do that. I committed to the thing that brought me into it in the first place, which was using the military as a stepping stone. Now, unfortunately, I definitely went and earned my VA disability. My brain is kind of fried and my back hurts all the time and all those funny things. But outside of the money that I get from the VA, I live this life that I would consider my dream life, because in that moment, I committed to a hard thing I did not want to do. I didn't want to do it, right? All my friends stayed home. All my friends went to school. All my friends had fun for 4 years, and I watched them. I watched them live this life, and I yearned to live the life of a kid. That's all I wanted for years, 4 straight years, every day. I'd look at my friends from where I grew up at, and I'd say, dude, I want that. They look so happy, right? But now I'm 22. I have everything that I want, and I'm going to keep on getting everything that I desire because of these hard decisions that I made that other people aren't willing to make, right? At the end of the day, that's it. That's the only separation. That's the only thing that makes me who I am versus you who could be on the other side. Is you, if you're still watching this at this point, maybe there's a little bit of a spark in there that could turn into a flame. But a lot of people are going to watch this. They're not going to do anything with it. And I know that it's not like super actionable, right? I didn't just lay out a roadmap to be a billionaire for you. But what I did just give you is the mindset and the commitments that you need to make mentally so that your life will reflect your lifestyle, right? Internal versus external. You need to be congruent in here so that everything out here can reflect it, right? That is the thing that made me who I am. On the inside, I am this person. On the inside, I'm committed. On the inside, every day, I want to work. I want it. Everything that's ahead of me is mine because internally, I'm the person who can take it, right? Whether they want to give it to me or not, I'm going to get it. And I have a track record that shows that I can do it. And I guarantee that you do too. I guarantee at some point in your life, you had something that you wanted and you got it. Now, all you need to do is go find that person, go find who you were mentally at that point in time and be them again, and then put it in a different direction this time. And I don't know, you look up a few years later, you take your head up when the work is done and you say, dang, I have everything I ever wanted. Whatever that may be. It's subjective, but that's how I got what I wanted. And I hope you do the same. God bless.